Thank you for your time again, coming to see us and hearing all about the work that's been made possible with thanks to all of your support. We are still very much virtual, which is still a shame. As you appreciate, we work for the hospital, and although kind of out there in the big wide world, things are starting to get back to normal and some charities are having sort of face-to-face events. We just need to be mindful at the hospital of kind of keeping the COVID safe rules to ensure that everybody is continued to be safe. So thank you so much for your time again this evening. So I have some exciting updates for you. These are things that we haven't really been able to share with you so far, but we're able to do so now, and we're hoping as well that in the not so distant future we'll be able to share with you kind of the final signed off annual review, so you can see the impact that we've made over the last couple of years. So I'm just going to take this time to kind of share some bits and pieces with you. You know, we have been busy at the charity, as you know. You've kind of followed our journey over the last couple of years, and your support has been with us always. Thank you so much. Interestingly, actually, if any of you are on today who took part in the ABP run that happened on Sunday, it was our most successful to date. We had 166 runners, so it was really great. So those of you who've joined us this evening who was part of that, I hope you're recovering well. And also, before I go into a bit of detail, I just want to thank the speakers as well from the hospital for spending time with us this evening and sharing all the great work that you guys do as a result of the donations made by you. So first off, we would like to share a little bit of exclusive with you of our annual review, and this is for the year 2020 and 21. So this was the COVID year. So this was the year when things were very different. But despite that, as you know, the charity was able to raise money thanks to the outpouring of support from the community. A lot of our energy, as you know, was diverted to the COVID response appeal. So that was supporting staff and patients when they needed it the most. And amazingly, within that period, the community all rallied around and raised just under £1 million to support that. And because it was an emergency appeal, the money has been spent. It was spent as and when it came in, and we all kept you abreast of everything that we did sort of at that time, but I'll go into a little bit more detail now. But also alongside that, we were able to support other projects as well across the hospital. And some really kind of key things that we were able to support with thanks to Portman's Park, who are with us this evening. We were able to fund 2 sensory retreat rooms within the Children's Hospital, which is really fantastic. And the work for those rooms are starting to be undertaken this month, which is brilliant. We were also able to fund some research into amblyopia, which is an eye condition for young children. And this actually was something that was really important, certainly through COVID, because it was a virtual research project. So it meant that young children didn't need to come into the hospital, that actually there could be more interactive ways in which the consultants can support them, but also kind of monitor their progress as well. And that was funded. We also very excitingly had the most interesting virtual opening of our Children's Emergency and Trauma Department in 2021. As thanks to all of you, we were able to raise £2 million to completely refurbish our Children's Emergency and Trauma Department. And it was completed just before the COVID pandemic kind of hit us. And it was a real blessing in disguise. As you know, we needed this new space. We needed this dedicated space for children, but we needed it even more during COVID, because what it enabled us to do was to have extra space within the adults emergency department as well. So we did have a virtual opening of that, and a lot of you were invited. So we were able to do that in a very different way. It was a shame, because we would have loved to have had everybody together to see the work and the result of all of your donations, but we're hoping in the future future, we'll be able to start offering tours as well to that once the hospital is kind of open for us to be able to do such a thing. So with the COVID response appeal then, we've talked about this sort of in the past, but it was all around kind of reacting to the immediate needs of staff and their well-being, providing spaces for comfort, boost boxes, psychological support, really key things to help get them through the pandemic, but also kind of supporting post-COVID needs as well. So we funded research and support into long COVID for staff as well. And that's a project that's ongoing at the moment. But alongside that as well, we were able to support projects for patients as well. So our patient support hub was the first in the UK, and that was funded through our COVID response appeal. So this is where patients weren't able to have visitors, they weren't able to engage directly with their loved ones. So we have a patient support hub now that was able to provide that extra support. And it's really great to be able to share with you that that project's going to be continuing now as we move forward into the future. So that was kind of the 2021 and the annual report, and all of that wonderful impact will be shared with you very, very shortly. But in terms of obviously a very exciting thing that happened towards the end of that financial year was that the charity were beneficiaries of a very exciting piece of artwork. I'm sure you probably saw it all over the press, but a street artist named Banksy surprised the staff with a beautiful picture of a young boy playing with his superheroes, and instead of picking out a superhero, he picked out a nurse. And that was within our walls at the hospital for about 6 months. And what was the decision that was made was that it was going to be auctioned off with all the proceeds going to support the NHS. And that went for more than what we could ever expect it to. It was reserved for 2.5 million and ended up going 14.4 million. And Christie's decided to waive their fees as well, which meant we as a charity were able to have an incredible donation of 16.5 million. But what that enabled us to do was to support other organisations as well. So we're currently in the process of distributing grants to organisations across the country that work alongside the NHS. So this is other charitable organisations. So as a charity, we were able to adapt in order to be able to grant out. And it's really great to be in that position. But in terms of what we've been able to do at Southampton with our contribution from that donation, so it was just under £5 million, is that we're developing wellbeing spaces for staff directly, which is really, really, really exciting. So those projects are going to be underway this year, and we're really, really thankful that we'll be able to do that and help support the long-term recovery of staff as a result of that. So that was that year, so a lot went on, and then just to kind of briefly kind of touch on, because obviously we've just finished the end of last financial year, so 21-22, which we're just finalising now. So I just wanted to kind of highlight some sort of key achievements within that year with you as well. We have a great partnership with NHS Charities Together. So this is the organisation that you probably heard about during COVID, that secured support from a lot of national corporates, big trust and foundations, and obviously Captain Tom walking all of those miles and all the money that he raised. So Southampton Hospitals Charity is one of about 250 NHS charities across the country, and NHS Charities Together raise funds to support the work that we're doing on the ground. So as a result of that as well, another really exciting partnership that we've developed is a community partnership. So that's where we are facilitating other community grants within Hampshire and Isle of Wight as a result of donations from NHS Charities Together, which is really fantastic because it means we're working really, really closely with other NHS charities within our area, and we're seeing the impact that those donations are making across our region, which is really, really great. Also, during the COVID year, we did launch our Gicu campaign, as you're all aware of. So this is the £1.1 million appeal to really help to enhance our new GICU at the hospital. This, as you know, was absolutely the heart of all COVID. It was the most busiest place, and it was the area that the most severe patients were being treated. And so the build in itself, as we've shared with you previously, had been delayed. But phase 1 of the build has been completed, which has meant that we've got extra space for patients when they need it and the highest kind of level of care required. The phase 2, which is the part that the charity are funding, so this is the rehab space, the relatives care area, the palliative care, artwork, waiting area, that will be completed in phase 2, which hopefully will be completed towards the end of next year. But very excitingly, we have raised half the amount of money that we need, which is brilliant. So we're halfway there. So thank you so much for all your ongoing support to enable us to do that. So I feel like I'm talking a lot. There's a lot to get through, isn't there? Christmas as well. For the last couple of years, it's the first time that the charities directly asked for donations to support those who are being treated at Christmas. And this year was the most successful campaign that we've ever had, where we raised £53,000 to support patients and staff throughout the Christmas period. So again, a big thank you to you all, because that really has made a huge difference.